My name's Rick. I've been on Fuck since, for 30 months and 14 days today. My story is I did drugs, alcohol my entire life, basically since I was 12 years old. Never really pictured a possibility of having a life without a needle in my arm or going in that prison. Uh, my life was pretty fucked up. I got convicted of, I have 53 felony convictions. And I've spent a good portion of my life in prison. Uh, Different times in and out. Uh, I paroled in 2018. Uh, and had kind of a decision that I was going to turn my life around. I've been working hard at that. Had a little setback here and there, once in the middle of that, but my life has hope today. And that's something that my life didn't have. I never paroled any of those times thinking, fuck, I can't wait to get back here. But I would get out and it's like I knew I'd be nervous when I'd get that S-time docket. And I'd be going, okay, my family's going to be excited I'm coming home. Everybody's excited I'm coming home. I'm excited I'm going home. But I'm going to be disappointing them one more time. I didn't have any hope. A couple things changed on my last term when I was going to court. And, we'll get into that with the questions. But, my life's pretty amazing today. After I unfucked my life, I get to do some really cool shit. I got some cool toys, had a pretty amazing life, got married, I'm able to take care of my family. I'm able to be there for my family today, instead of being that one person that, on Christmas when you'd show up, or a holiday when you'd show up and you'd look around and it's like they were happy I was there because they hadn't seen me at very many, but I could see in their eyes the fear of when's he going to be gone again. So there was no reliability. It's almost like they wanted me there, but they didn't want me there. And I remember that feeling in my gut. Probably the biggest rush better than any drug, better than anything, was when I was sitting at Christmas and I looked around at my family and I could see in their eyes that they weren't afraid to love me anymore. That they knew I was going to be there tomorrow. And I think that was just a point that was the biggest high I could possibly feel. Because, even in myself, I love my family, but I never knew. People would always say, dude, you got to stop doing what you're doing. You're going to get locked up again if you get caught. And I go, if? There's no if. It's when I get caught. This is going to happen again. We already know this. This was just an accepted part of my lifestyle. Yeah. I remember Chad one time, I got out, we saw each other once, and I was busted again within like 35 days looking at another prison term. And that was, I got to where I was just more comfortable in there than I was out here. Coming out here was just kind of a reprieve from being in there. That was my life. This was where I came for like the weekend or what normal people would do for a vacation,
Yeah.
And I never felt like I was super depressed. I never felt like I was super angry all the time. Because I didn't know what my feelings were. I stayed so loaded for so long out of my life that I didn't even know how to identify is that resentment? Is that this? I mean, I knew I'd get mad sometimes. But I didn't really even know how to identify. I didn't know how to identify my own feelings because I'd been numb so long. Today I don't live that way. Today, I can experience awesome joy. I get to go do cool things. I'm always on my motorcycle. I got involved in motorcycle culture, got super involved with my church, and I get to carry that message of recovery to other people. That there's hope. I'm not even going to wait for some of the questions, but one of the questions was on there was, what was a low point in your life where...
Yeah, answer that.
The super low point in my life was I was sitting in court. I bailed out, picked up a crime, got busted, bailed out. I'm going to court. I had my girl at the time on one side. I had my mom on the other. And Mom never gave up on me. I'm the youngest out of 4 kids, and so I'm the baby of the family. Mom never gave up on me. Always praying for me, always believing in me, does whatever she could for me. Uh, and I remember they came at me. They said maximum. They were trying to get my bail revoked. Maximum exposure is 38 years, and I just laughed. As I'm so used to it. I'm, I knew I wasn't going to get that much, but I looked over at my mom, and she was ghost white. I mean, just ghost white. We walk out of court, and my mom looked at me and she goes, "Do you realize if you get found guilty here, and you get what they're talking about, you're never going to see me on the streets or on without a piece of glass separating us again." And that just cut to my quick. I mean, I'm like, and oh, don't worry, I'm not going to get that. She goes, "Rick, understand it could go wrong." And that stuck with me. I would like to say, I never picked up or got loaded after that, or, I hadn't even gone in for that sentence yet. So I was definitely still using and doing what we do to run all the way up to the last 30 seconds before I'm going to get busted. In fact, I picked up another crime, bail crime, that's how it goes. And
but it planted that seed.
It planted that seed, and it was something that I thought about that whole term. And it kept me, I was fearful of it for the first time that whole term. I mean, when I'd get my phone call, "Mom, are you okay?" It was a legitimate, serious fear that stuck with me through that whole term, and it kind of made that term different. Yeah. I did some different things, busted that time. I jumped into my Bible. I just started digging into the New Testament, and I didn't, I'd been raised in a Christian household, but I didn't have any kind of a relationship with God. It was more like I viewed God as this Jewish guy with a big beard sitting on top of a cloud, keeping a checklist and pointing his finger at me. So, I didn't want nothing to do with it. I'm like, I end up on those gates, I'm doomed, right? So, and, so I just couldn't get that connection, and where I could learn how to rely on it and to change and to develop a relationship where I love him and I know that he loves me. What it cost for that to happen. That term was different, and I paroled, jumped right into sober living, and and I stayed sober. They told me, basically I did the simple things, get out of the area that you grew up in for the most part. Stay away from your playmates, your playthings, and play places. So I had to go up towards North County, and got into sober living. Was going to meetings, just jumping into the program as much as I could. I thought I was doing it 100%, but I always had reserves when it came to the steps. I would do 1, 2, 3, and then when it got to where I had to put a pencil to paper and start doing that moral inventory, I'd be like, "Well, let's skip that," because I kind of felt like I was filling out my own paperwork. And it was I went to work every day. I showed up 10 minutes early. I stayed 10 minutes late, and I gave them a dime's worth of work for a nickel's pay, and I got pretty good at my job. And after my first year of sobriety, I got approached by one of the owners of the company to come work for him. And I've been an outside sales rep with them ever since. But 30 months ago, well, I guess it'd be 34 months ago, in 15 days, I let the life that sobriety give me get in the way of my sobriety life. And, I have one of those heads, and, I started thinking it's me that's doing all this. I'm rocking all this. I'm making this happen. And I stopped believing in God. I stopped doing my steps. I stopped doing the things that were keeping me sober. And, one day I was working in the desert, and I went into a gas station, and for some reason the beer looked colder than the soda. And that's just how my head did it. And, drink beer. Next thing I knew, I was on a little 4-month run. But that was probably, there's another step in there, your most despaired time in sobriety, and how'd you overcome that? Or not in sobriety, but that was probably my lowest point emotionally in my life, because I'd been living this really bitchin' life for a couple of years, and I got some cool toys, and I got my bikes, and I'm plugged in at church, and I'm going there every Sunday, and I got a cool old lady, and I got mom living with me. I had an elderly mom who was on the street, basically. She was in her car. I'm taking care of mom now, and all my bills are paid. Things are going great. I got money in the bank, and then I sat there and lied to everybody who was close to me in my life for 4 months. I lied to my girl, who's my wife now. I lied to my mom. I lied to my employers. I lied to everybody around me that I wasn't getting loaded. And everybody knew I was getting loaded. I thought I had them fooled, but they all knew. I remember on the 18th, August 18th, we had a meeting at work, and what's going on with you? And I lied there, and then I went to work, and I was sitting in my car, and I had kind of a spiritual breakthrough because I had developed that relationship with God. And I remember I picked the phone, I called my boss, and I texted my boss, hey, I'm getting loaded, I need to get sober. I need to get clean again. Rather than, we knew it, you lied to us, the first thing, I'll never forget, the first text I got back, all it said was, fuck yeah. And they were right there to fucking help me. And that was the difference between, being in sobriety, being around the people I got in my life today. I'm around people who are doing the right thing. All people who have unfucked their lives, right? And so, and it was pretty awesome not to get condemned because I fucked up. But they were all just willing to reach down, grab me. Look, you're not alone. Boom, and just pull me in and help me get back in sober living, help me get right, and put together a program. And I picked up a new sponsor. And this time I didn't miss, step forward. I did all 12 steps. I still do that, and I'm still plugged into my church. And I don't know what part of keeps me sober every day. I don't know what I do that keeps me sober every day. So I just do the same thing I did yesterday. And that's starting off my day on my knees. I say a prayer. I end the day with a prayer of gratitude for getting me through the day. I try to keep my hand out as much as possible to help people whenever possible. My phone is always on. Timmy kind of said it. I come with a number, and as people call me day or night, whatever they need, and I find myself now where when I'm at the gas station filling up my tank and somebody comes up and it's like, well, what's going on? I find myself just asking them, what's going on in your life? Some dude's asking me for change. What's going on in your life? Do you want to get sober? Do you want to get in detox? There's become a willingness that I'm just always willing to try to help lift somebody up, and that's a feeling that I can never get loaded, to be able to be there and be reliable and be a friend, and to be responsible, right? I was never able to be responsible. I mean, I thought I was, but I had no idea what responsibility was. My responsibility was, did I pay my dope debt on time? That's what I considered sober, responsible before, But,
did I make it to my court date?
Yeah, did I make it to court date? Which usually, the only way I made it was in the back of a car, right? Yeah. So, or on a bus.
Right.
But, I have an amazing life with God today. And, I didn't do any of this. This is God. And that's why I end that day with gratitude, and I get on my knees in the morning and I say my 7-step prayer and I ask God for guidance. And, and it's what's really cool with my prayer life that's changed is prayer life used to always be, God, help me get this job. God, help me make more money. God, help me do this. They were all requests. Now, most of my prayer life is, God, thanks for allowing me to do that. God, thanks for this day. Thanks for these friends. Thanks for they're all gratitude now, and, it's just a trip. I can't even really wrap my head around it.
Oh, I know.
I can't wrap my head around it. I tried.
We were trying to get that kid at the gas station on our last ride. We were both over there. We went over and we were trying to talk him in. Hey, we'll take you into rehab.
Well, I mean, it wasn't that long ago where if somebody would have asked me, who do you think the least likely to get sober is, I would have probably said Chad Brewington, right? When I came out and you had a few years behind your belt and, and rocking it. And I mean, you've been a super huge example to me. I have some cool, they're not just my friends, they're mentors in different ways. It's like I can find something out of everybody. Even I can find something, just that that willing to always be able to find something that I'm teachable, that, I can listen now and like really hear something. Before it was just, it kind of just went in and out and I was on to my next thing, and there was no real depth to any of my relationships, because I always knew I was going away. I mean, I was scared to get into a depth relationship. I knew every day I was 24 hours away from basically being locked up. If I happened to make it longer than that, it was pure luck. It was like,
For sure.
So I didn't want to it's like, no, I'll just keep my distance right now. That way I don't get hurt as much, and I don't hurt you guys as much either.
That's right. There's a lot more investment now.
I don't know, it's pretty awesome to have a life today, and I mean, I'm just super blessed, man. I never thought I'd get married. I mean, I never went into anything without an exit plan. You know what I mean? And to make a vow that, wow, I'm going to be here through good, bad, sickness, health, until death do us part. And to be excited to make that commitment.
Yeah.
To be excited for it. Like, I'm making a lifelong commitment, and I'm happy to do it. I didn't want to make any commitments in my life before. But can you meet me at 9? But call me and see if you can get me on the phone. I mean, I wouldn't even commit to picking somebody up. And if I did, I was going to be late, and I'd probably let them down. Somebody was just a dumbass if they relied on me before. But I didn't even feel bad about it. It's like, well, you were relying on me. Well, are you retarded?
Yeah.
Haven't you been watching my life?
Yeah, for sure. What do you think your turning point was leading you to decide to change that direction completely? Was it that point when your mom said that? Because you didn't do it right then, or was there another time?
I didn't do it right then, but that was definitely the deciding factor of, look, I need to stop getting busted. I need to stop committing crime. I need somehow to turn this around. And, turning point was, I remember the prayer. I mean, I said a prayer, and I'm basically going to turn this over to you. I don't have any hope. I don't think I'm going to succeed. I don't really feel like I have any worth on this. I don't know what to do. I have no job skills. I mean, all I've done my entire life basically is sell drugs, rob people, and, work a prison job for 8 cents an hour.
Yeah.
Right? And I just trusted God. And they were small baby steps. There were small day-to-day glories that were, and Scripture said move glory to glory, right? So it was little things. Sometimes it was, okay, boom, I just finally got my first car, or got a car, got a job, got an ID card, got a social security card. Those are really retarded things that most people have in their lives all the time.
Yeah.
But I hadn't had a social security card for, 19 years, right? I remember when I went to go finance something, they couldn't even find a file on my social security card because I was a ghost. They said, you have no credit history, nothing, zero, nada. And I was like, what? So learning how to do that, and now being able to be in a situation where, wow, I can go finance stuff if I need to finance stuff, and I can be responsible with bills, and I can, I didn't know how to do any of this shit. Good thing I didn't have a credit rating before, because they would have all got screwed,
Right.
But I think the decision, I didn't want to come back. And I remember, let me back up a little bit. So the term before my last term, I bailed out. I went to Christmas. That's where I saw my family, and I saw that look where they were excited I was there, but they were kind of like, when's you going to go away?
Yeah.
And you got to remember, I hadn't been to a Christmas in like 10 years, because for some reason I'd always get busted right before Christmas. And they were all saying, we look forward to seeing you on Thanksgiving. And it was 2 days before Thanksgiving, and I picked up another term. And I was like, I let them all down again. They were right. That look in their eyes, being scared to love me, they were right to have it.
Yeah.
And I think that was just the turning point for, because at that Christmas I'd seen nieces and nephews that were like this big when I saw them, and now they're this big, and some of them are even having kids. And I was like, this is what I'm missing.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the depth of that until I was busted, and had kind of sobered up enough where my head was cleared, my feelings are back, and they're kind of raw. And then it really just got one little seed, you know. That's what I'm missing. That's what I'm missing. That's what I'm missing. And it all developed a lot of value again. You know, because there's one thing about it, when we're loaded, we're going in and out, we always feel like we have more time. Like there's always going to be, I won't make it this week, but I'll make it next week. And I think I started to realize, well, this thing's not indefinite. You know, I'm missing a lot. And these are the people who love me, who pray for me, who are always there for me. My sister Sally, my sister Nikki. You know, these people are always praying for me and always just loving on me, just waiting for me to get it. And I don't know what clicked. I mean, I think it was probably their prayers, you know, because there was no one moment where I just decided to change. It just, because I couldn't make that decision. You know, every time I thought about making that decision, in my head, I already knew I was going to fail. So it wasn't even really a real decision, right? It's like saying, okay, I decided to get a job, but knowing I'm not going to be there. I might show up Monday, but I'm not going to be here by Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know, and so somehow, I don't know how it worked. I give it to God. I mean, God worked miraculously in my life and just giving me small victories day to day so that I was able, small revelations, and I don't know how it worked out, but somehow it worked out where I was able to get it that time. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and I had a ton of people around me, you know, I could reach out to. So.
Going through all that, Rick, all your struggles and everything you went through, all the breakdowns and all the hard times, how did that shape you into the person you are today now?
Grateful, super grateful. You know, super grateful that I found a relationship with a God that I could do business with, and for my relationship that I have with my Savior, you know, and that's being aware that it's no longer me, it's Him. These things were given to me. They're not me doing them because I couldn't do them. Look, I couldn't stay sober, you know, 48 hours on my own. That was never, and I didn't really want to, you know, a lot of times. I didn't consider, you know, getting loaded my problem. I considered it my solution. Why would I want to stop doing my solution, right? Every time I had to dry out, it was torture. So, you know, when I gave it to him and I surrendered it, you know, and then I got into the book and I grabbed onto a sponsor and I started doing the steps, and, you know, I didn't realize that I had resentments and, you know, a bunch of amends to make. I remember when I started that 4-step and I started writing my part in the wrongs, and I'm like going, wow, I didn't even realize I was this much of a piece of shit, you know? It's like, wow, I got some amends, you know, and a big flex is I made all those amends. You know, I was able to apologize for all those things and tell them, look, whatever you want me to do to make it right, not just apologize. What do you need to make this right? You know, and being willing to do it.
Yeah, not just talking about it. Doing it. That goes right into the next question. What role did forgiveness play in the process of you moving forward?
You know, I pretty much was pretty forgiving. I always just figured everything was part of the game, and that's just the life we're living, so it just kind of flowed. Mm-hmm. But when I did that 4-step and I got into where I had to learn to forgive myself.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was really where it came. I could forgive other people because I kind of already expected it, you know, because I knew how reliable I was. Why would I expect anybody else to be reliable? You know, I didn't usually have unrealistic expectations. I usually knew exactly how screwed up the people around me were, because I put myself in that situation with people that are as screwed up as me just for that reason, right? And, you know, so it's like, there weren't really no die-hard resentments that I had to go do some deep forgiveness for. You know, I did a lot of people wrong. Some people did me wrongs. And to me, it just became a wash.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, learning to pray for my enemies. Now, that's a little bit different. When I got into the Bible and I started reading Scripture and I had to start praying for my enemies. I didn't have people I was mad at or resentful at, like, unforgiving. But I had enemies. right? So I would learning praying for them, and at first it felt fake as could be. I'm just saying this word, and I just feel stupid saying it. And and there's that saying, "Fake it till you make it." So I just kept doing it, and eventually they started kind of becoming heartfelt. Well, you know what? I'm living a pretty amazing life, and I like the people that, for my worst enemy now, I really wish they could live the life that I'm living.
That's right.
And it's a sincere want. I wish they could find the peace that comes from developing a relationship with God. That develops, having brothers, sisters around you, that not just blood, but people that are there, that they can be part of that, where it's not just about them receiving. They feel the joy of being able to give and be part of that community, because we get so much more out of when we give something away, right?
100%.
So I mean, when I tell people all the time, they're like, "Thanks for helping." Bro, you have no idea. I mean, this might have helped you a little bit, but this helped me 10 times more. And I'm a selfish, greedy bastard at heart. I really kind of am, right? And I know this. It's like one of my character defects. So I don't mind helping you because I know I'm going to get something out of it, even if that person doesn't give me any. Somehow the universe somehow it comes back. The feeling that I get inside, I don't know what part of it works, bro. I can't explain it. I'm a dumb ex-convict. I don't know how to wrap my head around this stuff. You know what I mean? But I know it works.
It does. 100. What moment or achievements in your journey are you really proud of? Some accomplishments, or just a time, or something you've done?
I'm super proud of that. I have become responsible. That I know this sounds stupid to a lot of people, but that I can have a ton of available credit in my wallet and not screw up one of my bills. But probably I would have to say get married, and making that commitment. I got married September 10th of last year, and it was pretty amazing.
It was. I was there. I liked it.
I got, I got my partner. I got my best friend. I got someone who had my back. Our first date was her taking me to probation. And then she was there through that 4 months that I relapsed, and I practically made her insane because, being the good drug addict I am, I just made it all her fault.
Yeah.
She still stuck through me with that, and now she's super proud of me. That I'm able to take care of my mom, that I'm able to be responsible for my family. Those would probably be the most single thing. I'm totally proud of my sobriety, but I think Timmy said it best. I don't really have a date. Being sober is just what I am right now, right? It's just and that's all God, because I can't take any credit for that. That's nothing short of miraculous. That's a miracle. I mean, that's as much of a miracle as raising Lazarus from the dead, or making a blind man see, or making a lame dude walk, is me getting a needle out of my arm. It's that much of a miracle. So I get to, when people talk to me about the Bible, they go, yeah, well, those people got to see miracles. I go, bro, you don't get it. I get to experience a miracle every time I wake up and I'm not dope sick. Every time I get to go through my day without having to get loaded. That's a miracle. Because it wasn't an option before.
100%. That's a good, proud moment. Karen is an awesome moment.
That was cool.
It's a great moment.
I'm super stoked that you were able to be able to share it with me. On our Sturgis trip, that was pretty awesome.
Sturgis trip, yeah.
That was pretty
rad.
I
never imagined
that falls under one of those proudest moments. I've never been able to plan something. I started planning that a year ahead of time.
Yeah.
I've never been able to plan something that's a year into the distance and actually get to that date and it happens. Because usually there would be jail, prisons, and all kinds of stuff that would get in between that and that date. I couldn't make a plan a year down the line. I mean, I didn't even know if I was going to be alive a year down the line.
Not only that, there was 6 or 7 or 8 of us that were all drug addicts in and out of the system and all that our whole lives, and we all stuck to that plan and we all made it.
It was rad, bro. It was such a good time. It was so cool.
Hey, so what message do you want to share with others that are facing that similar challenge that you overcame? If you could share something with them.
Cut yourself a break. You know, cut yourself a break and just know that whatever you're going through at that time right now, how bad it may be, the despair, the loss, the not having any hope, that it can change. The next day can be entirely different. And you know, and reach out. You know, reach out to somebody, look around, find somebody who has something that you want. You know, and I don't mean like a car or, you know, but something you want, a serenity in life, a peace in life, a happiness, and grab onto them. You know, there's plenty of people out there that are totally willing to help, and you know, and know that you're. Don't be ashamed to ask, because they're not just helping you; you're helping them. No matter how bad you think you are right now, you're helping them as well. So, you know, and most of us would love to do it. I absolutely hope that you come and you join this side, you get on this side of the fence. You know, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, pegging, sitting on that line, that sucks. That's torture. Just jump over that fence and give yourself a fair break. You know, you're worth it. My name is Rick, and I'm Unfkd.
Right on.